You are listening to Down Home. One of the perks of doing the Down Home podcast is that me and Jay get to meet and have conversations with Scotians that we probably wouldn't have met otherwise. This week, homegrown hip-hop artist J-Bru and his son Levon take us through their musical Scotian journey. Welcome to Down Home, the Nova Scotian experience by two black men. I'm Derek Wise, and as always, we have Jay Jones.
What is happening?
And our guest this week is homegrown hip-hop artist J-Bru and little man Levon, the Prince. How you guys doing?
Thanks for having us.
How you doing?
Good.
What's happening?
What's up?
What's up? All right, so we're gonna ask you a couple questions, little man, and then we let you go play there, okay?
We're gonna ask you a couple questions, and you can
All
go.
right. So first off, who's your favorite rapper?
Bow Wow.
Bow Wow? You like Bow
Obviously.
Wow? Oh, it's obvious.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously.
Little Bow Wow's in the house.
It's an obvious thing.
It's an obvious thing.
That's cool. And what about making music? What else do you do for fun?
I play video games all day.
Video games? What's your favorite video game?
Mario Kart.
Oh, Mario Kart.
Nice.
Oh, that's an OG game right there, man.
And did you like
lots of old games?
Yeah. Did you like making music for your
Yeah.
for your album?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun, eh? Who was your inspiration?
Bow Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. What about Daddy? Do you like Daddy's raps?
Of
Cool.
course.
Obviously.
I love Daddy.
Yes,
That's
you do.
good.
That's a
That's
good
good.
thing. That's a
good thing.
All right, little man. You can go play now if you want. Or you can jump around the background. It's all up to
Yep.
you.
Feel free
Break dance.
to roam around.
Yeah.
Do the worm.
Yeah, do the worm. That's Jay Jones's category. They're doing
Yeah.
the worm.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
You might have retired, AJ.
Yeah. Well, I used to do it twice a week for many years.
Twice a week. Oh man.
Anyway.
All right. So J-Bru, man, thanks for giving us your time today, man. It's awesome to sit down and talk to some homegrown talent, man.
Mm-hmm. No, appreciate
sure.
it, fellas. Appreciate
Awesome. So we understand that your family has a long, rich history in Nova Scotia, like R&B, country music.
it. Mhm.
Talk a little bit about how that history influenced your hip hop career, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it starts with my grandfather, who's Merrill Bruce, who's in the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame. He wasn't actually a country artist, but he was a tap dancer.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So back then he toured with Hank Snow. Hank Snow's come to Shelburne, where my black side of my family's from, and stayed at our house. And I wasn't alive then, but my grandfather's house. And they used to have like little gigs and stuff like that. And then they would go tour Canada, the U.S. And he actually did a couple of shows with Bing Crosby, actually.
Really?
Oh, wow, cool.
Which obviously Bing Crosby's a king. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
The
he got to
king
do his
crooner.
thing, but right. But back then it was, he was on only a few like television performances because black people weren't allowed to be on certain shows, or he would go do shows with these guys, and he'd be on the tour bus but couldn't sleep in the hotels. So he really came up through that sort of time that was just really rigorous and stressful to be a black man. And not that it's not now, but my grandfather really went through some stuff. So that's he was in the Country Music Hall of Fame, which is sort of, they didn't know where to, I guess, peg the tap dancing side of it. They moved that towards the country music. So He's also in the ANSMA, African Nova Scotian Music Association Hall of Fame as well.
Oh, excellent.
So yeah, props to those guys.
Yeah.
And it goes down the line. So my grandfather had, a bunch of kids, and my uncle Huey and my dad started a group called the Valiants, who were like a soul, sort of like Temptation style group.
Okay.
And
cool.
there he is. Yeah. So they did shows all across the South Shore, and I know my dad personally played every instrument going.
Oh, wow.
Drums, and it's sort of how they had to do it back then, right?
Yeah.
They had like interchanging members all the time, so not everybody was always singing, not everyone was always doing the drums. So they're super, super diverse, and it just came up through me through basketball trips. When I was younger playing for Community Y, my dad would be driving, and he would play like old songs, Motown, and I was super, super into James Brown, Motown, stuff like that, Smokey Robinson. Yeah. Right. So it was a natural progression when I got into hip hop that I was a producer as well. So most of the beats I made were old Motown samples at the beginning. Right. When I first started learning how to make beats, I was like heavy into that soul, the soulful sound.
Now that sounds real special, next level. It ain't no shame in a king, we do our thing, son. 20 years, I rock. It's a daily operation. Now that sounds real special, next level. It ain't no shame in a king, we do our thing, son. 20 years, I rock. It's a daily operation.
J-Bru. No, it wasn't by design. When I came home from school, Mac class of 99. 12 months later, he was banging on record. I made music, my lord, and the apple of my eye. Shit, I even lost a couple friends to it. Some stabbed me in the back, that's how friends do it. You would think I'd be an asshole influenced by the mass, though I'd rather form a circle in a sense through it. Sometimes I wish I had a Benz or a bigger house, but this is the rap game, it's too hard to figure out. And now I'm trying to rap what I don't be about. Try to disappear, but you compare me to these niggas. Ouch. Don't pronounce me King of Leon, but I'm sitting at the top, and it's a great place to be on.
Which my dad appreciated because he wasn't a super big hip hop fan. He all he saw was on BET. He didn't see like the Commons and the Talib Kweli's. So when I came out, sort of that sort of style, he had a bigger appreciation for the art form of hip hop. So. So he sort of, I wouldn't say he pushed me into that, but I mean, it was definitely a heavy influence on my music career for sure.
Yeah. Back in the day, like, we're talking like early 90s, a lot of the hip hop had those Motown samples, man. Like I think at one point James Brown was the most heavily sampled dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think he's got 3. Hey, no, buddy. He's got 3 of the top 5 even still.
Really?
Yeah. I was doing some research like maybe last year.
Yeah.
3 of the top 5 most sampled songs are still there.
The Fear of a Black Planet killed James Brown. All those samples and stuff, but it was so dope. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
So now, speaking of hip hop, there was like I came up like sort of the golden era hip hop, and even the golden era in Halifax, like Helltown and all those rappers like from Patty Jones and Joe Run, Just Respect Your Culture, Universal Soul, Buck 65. Now you were kind of on the second tier with like Classified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys blended in well with those roots. How did those guys inspire you to take it to another level?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I went away after I graduated high school. I went to Ottawa U to go to university and play basketball. I started my music sort of career up there, and then when I came home, I knew all these guys. Do you know what I mean? But I hadn't been to shows. I hadn't seen them perform. So when I came home, like right away, I started recording with Classified, and we really clicked. And started going to shows, and I was just amazed at the talent that we had. In Halifax, and it made me want to become an artist. It made me want to be a better artist.
Right.
So the Kunga 219s and the Goods and Tai Chi Chi's and like you said, the Buck 65, Joe Runs. My cousin John Bruce was in the actual first hip hop sort of collective back in like the early 80s.
Down by Law, or was it?
No,
there were so many different crews.
There were so many different ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were like into breakdance, and they did performance art and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and they formed a big collective. The name slips me right now. I apologize, but
it's okay.
Yeah, someone reached out to me, I think maybe 2 years ago. They were doing a project on hip hop in Halifax, and they're trying to get a hold of my cousin. I couldn't remember the name for the life of me, but they knew it. I probably should know it's my cousin, but so I always give props to the older. I say older too, but I'm the same age as most of them. It just I didn't start until my 20s.
Yeah, so they got they got a head start.
Yeah, I wasn't 16, 15 recording and so like that. We recorded at home, but we didn't do it like professionally. You know what I mean? So
and to further that question, even beyond that, like, what was it that inspired you to use hip hop as a voice and a way of expressing yourself? Was it? Was
it's funny. It's so I come up as a biracial child, and my father has such strong roots in Shelburne. And if anyone knows the history of Shelburne, like the Underground Railroad came up through there, and the Black Loyalists. And I was always interested in the stories. And it was actually my mom, who was white. She was born in Lunenburg County. And then grew up in the north end of Halifax. And she was the one that, once she found out my interest in it, like I started writing poetry at an early age, and she was the one that really pushed me to keep going.
Right.
And, when I want to say I was grade 8 or 9, she bought me maybe 12 books, some Alex Haley's, Roots and different books for me to read. And that's when I really got super into it. And, hip hop was just a part of that as well. So, growing up with Run DMCs and the Kumo D's and, every kid wants to be that artist. And those guys really, really did it for me. I was super, super old school fan, and I still am.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Me too.
Yeah, but that's really what molded me when I became an artist was those old school artists. And just being into Black culture in general.
Yeah. Just a side note, you mentioned that you played ball up here in Ottawa when you went to university. Just speak on the cultural differences between Ontario, like you're relatively small part of Ontario, and then coming back to home to Nova Scotia. Yeah, I mean, it's as most people do. I think as Nova Scotians, a lot of people that move away eventually come back. I was someone that knew I was going to come back, and I didn't finish university. I only spent 2 years there, but like I wasn't there 4 hours before I realized how different it was. Oh yeah, I mean, like I'm a Halifax guy, North End. I'm used to saying what's up to every Black guy I see, whether I know you or not. Yeah, and I got there. I think I checked into my dorm, and I went to the mall, which was like 4 blocks away. And I'm saying what's up to everybody, and they're looking at me like they want to shoot me. You know what I mean? He was crazy, friendly, like light skinned guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was the biggest adjustment at first, because I was like, I'm just a friendly dude too, and I'm hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? And they're all looking at me like, who are you?
Yeah, that maritime vibe is hard to accept sometimes.
It really made me appreciate being home, like how you can just. Sometimes you're having an off day or something, and you just see another brother in the mall or somewhere, and it uplifts you, right? Just to be a part of that. So
true.
Yeah, that was a big difference I had in Ontario. Yeah, we're just getting used to that. It's and not that they don't have camaraderie among the Black community, because I was a part of a few groups in university and stuff like that, but it still didn't have that same down home feel.
It is very different, isn't it, man? Like it. I found like me and Jay have been up here for a little while. And I find the community so fractured up here, right? You have your Jamaicans, and you have your East Indians, and then you have it's so fractured, right?
Yeah.
And
Ottawa was the same. Was the same, and I do find you'll have a little bit of that here, but for the most part, you'll go to a multicultural festival or a multicultural group meeting, and you'll see Jamaicans, you'll see Somalians. You know what I mean? Like you'll see like Puerto Ricans. It's crazy, and I don't know if it's just a maritime thing, but I really feel it is, man, because we just make everyone welcome, and it's we have such a camaraderie here, especially in the Black community.
Yeah, create that vibe. Step into our kitchen,
Yeah, right.
We'll give you a keys, Yeah. And also being in Ottawa, actually, Ottawa kind of had a big hip hop scene too, right out of the gate in the early '90s.
Really?
Yeah.
Telling me something I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I was following it. I can't remember some of the group's names, but I remember the scene popping off. And was that kind of when you were up there, did that inspire you as well?
I went up there in '94.
Okay, so you were still in the mix.
Yeah, so I got up there, and I was DJing at the time. just doing some parties on campus and things like that. And I got to go in little different communities and play some parties. But I met some rappers. There was a French rapper named Mike Check, who was like one of the biggest French rappers at the time. He toured a lot with DL Incognito.
Okay,
he's
dope.
He toured a lot with him. They're real tight. Still are to this day. I still talk to Mike Check once in a while, but he was a big one there. And actually, Belly, who really popped off, like I guess, became like sort of a pop icon and writes for the weekend stuff like that. He was coming up a little bit later, more towards like the end of the '90s. But he was an Ottawa cat too. Like my first meeting with him was Classified and I were doing a show in Ottawa, and he came up to us and gave us like a demo tape.
Really?
That whole like demo tape stuff, era.
Yeah.
And we were like, we listened to his stuff and it was like, it's pretty good, but it wasn't really our thing.
Right.
Like style of music, but it was dope. And he had Masari at the time and no one knew who he was. And to find out 5 and 10 and 15 years later what Belly's become and it's pretty cool. We've had a few interactions like that, but he came to us with a demo tape, just a Belly that no one knew. And 5 years later he was a huge Canadian artist. Now he's living in California writing for big pop artists. So good for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's sticking with your vision, right? And
seriously.
it changes, evolves, but that passion 100%. Can take you a long way.
That's right.
What were some of the experiences traveling and touring with Classified? Can you speak on that a bit?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool because we came from 2 completely different backgrounds. But our love for music is really what gave us our friendship.
Yeah.
Oh, one sec, sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Okay.
Where's the remote? He says. Man. But no, we, Class and I, came from 2 different walks of life, and I walked in there the first day to record with him, and we just clicked.
Yeah.
I don't even think I knew him 2 months before he asked me to come on tour with him. Like that's how just quickly we clicked. And seeing him do what he's done, from the ground up is something I haven't seen since, and I don't know if we'll ever see it again with COVID and all this stuff going on. But we went, just himself and I, across Canada, I think 5 or 6 times before he had a DJ.
Yeah.
So I had like a Discman in the back, and I clicked to the next song. And
man.
The first time we went, we were having 10, 30 people to show, maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes we weren't sure how we get in the next city because we had no money.
Right.
Greyhound and sleeping on promoters' floors, and to see where he's come today. It's just it's really proof of hard work gets it done. But unfortunately, not a lot of artists are willing to put their life on hold to make those sacrifices. So
it's true. Yeah, no, good on him, man. He's a Canadian icon, and he really built himself into that.
Yeah, he really has. And he's made a lane, and it's even in saying that, we're different walks of life. We weren't really similar in music styles either, which you don't see a lot when people tour with like a hype man and sort of the right hand man. Our music was like not totally different, but it really was not the same.
Right.
So I think that made our whole vibe even better.
Right.
I'm sure.
Yeah, you were both like taking from each other,
and it was cool for me.
Yeah,
it was cool
to
for me
learn.
to be in the studio with him and hear his songs, and he was recording my album, so he heard my songs, and it was just a cool vibe, because a lot of times, like I said, if you're traveling with 5 or 6 guys, you're all the same style of music.
Yeah,
what I mean? Like you're Wu-Tang, so it's all Wu-Tang style.
Yeah.
Right, we were completely different, and then he brought like Jordan Croucher on tour and Chad Hatchers and guys like that. So he really loves diversity and just with musical styles, and it's something I'll credit him for life. He gave me some opportunities I probably wouldn't have had if I just went out on my own, and I did go out on my own, but I reached some peaks I probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for him.
He was a good foundation and a good sort of mentorship too, and 100%. Friendship, which is important too, because you need to be on a team where you can just sort of be yourself. Now, would you say, what do you gravitate towards as far as MCs and music and
so that changes for me every week, to be honest.
Really?
So right now I'm working on a project. I haven't put an album out in, I want to say, since COVID, at least 3 years. So I'm about 80% finished an album. So one thing I do, which I'll give you the backstory after, is I don't listen to any hip hop when I'm recording an album.
Right.
I had a song back in the day, I want to say 2003, on my Underground MC album, where I really love this De La Soul song that just came out, and we were on tour. And that's all I would listen to it over and over. Like I'm super ADHD. I'll listen to a song till I kill it. Like, you know, so it just came out. I love the beat. I love everything. So I started just kind of freestyling and getting some lyrics in my head. And when I got home, I wrote this song. And then when I put my album out, it sounded just like that song. And someone had actually told me, they were like, this song sounds like this song by De La Soul.
Yeah.
So ever since that day, I've refused. I don't want to put a song that sounds like someone else.
Yeah, because it might leak into your conscience a bit.
And, right. Yeah. So there is artists that influence me, and I do get inspiration from a lot of places, but I don't listen to any hip hop while I'm recording an album. Necessarily. But you know, it's as far as favorite artists and things like that, I've always been the lyricism. You know, so back in the day it was the Rock Hymns, the Big Daddy Kanes. You know, and one thing I will, you know, I don't like to I guess toot my own horn or whatever, but for my age and how long I've been in hip hop, one thing I've done more than most MCs my age or some of the dudes that came before me is I've evolved my style more. So like I can come with the, you know, the 1999 Help Have Been Rob J-Bru, but I can also rap with the younger kids today. You know, different styles, and I didn't do it on purpose. I just knew to be relevant, I had to like up my own game. So of course, you know, some music I didn't like, I'm not going to do that style necessarily. But yeah, I find I've evolved over time, and I don't think there's a lot of MCs my age that can do like the, you know, went to the store, said it before, old school shit, stuff, you know. But then also I can come in and do like, you know, I don't even know who to compare to, like a Graph or someone from Queens. You know, he's one of my favorites. Just that I like to do punchlines that make you rewind 5 or 6 times and
catch the drift.
Yeah, like, you know, so it's I'm a part of a group on Facebook called Bars of Death, and they have monthly contests with the best verse or the best, you know, best wordplay and things like that. And I'm usually there's some real dope MCs in that from the States and stuff like that. And I'm always near the top 2 or 3, but I find doing that too ups my game because I'm competing every month, sometimes every week, against these guys that are just amazing lyricists.
That's how you stay fresh, man. Right?
That's how you stay fresh. Like back in the day, the fellas were freestyling in the corners. And you know, we don't
ciphers.
Like there's no ciphers anymore. We don't get together like this. COVID happened. So for me to stay sharp, it's been online. It's been joining these groups. It's been listening to artists that I feel like are better than me. Right. So it's that's where I'm drawing my inspiration right now. But like I said, I'm not listening to hip hop at this very second, or trying not to, because I don't want to, you know,
let it bleed into your own work.
Yeah.
And one other thing, man, like we obviously see that you're doing, you know, good things with your son now, making he's taken on the torch of music, or has obviously been inspired by you, you know. So, and that harkens back to of like you know, a lot of legacy, you know, what we leave to our kids. Now, do you find it, you don't mind him getting into hip hop so young because you know what it has meant to you?
Yeah, I mean, I did have some drawbacks when I first thought of it, but it was totally his idea. And to put context too, I have a son that will be 19 next month. He's also a producer too. So
cool.
So it's a strong bloodline, right? I mean, Levon's been in the studio since he was 6 months old. We had a studio down on Granville Street with myself, DJ IV, Neon Dreams. It was like a pop group. There was another hip hop crew called Kin Crew, and you know, just a bunch of us in there. And Levon would go room to room as a 1-year-old, and like, you know, head nod to the beats, and you know, it was so dope to see as a father. And then I just kind of knew he was I didn't know necessarily at 6 years old, you know, but I thought maybe when he's 12, 15, he'd come to me and want to do it. But I was literally making a beat one day. And he came to me and said, "Daddy, can I record a song?" And I just was in shock.
That's pretty cool.
Right. So we, you know, go ahead. It's a little bit different. You know, I songwrite for some other people too. It's a little different because when I do that for them, I'll record this whole song and I'll send it to them. They learn it and then they rap it or sing it. With him, where he's 6, you know, I couldn't send him a whole song, so we sat down maybe 4 bars at a time or 2 bars at a time, 2 lines at a time, and he will learn them with me on the spot. And he did that. We did that. His first song. It was called "See Me at the Playground" in maybe 45 minutes, and I was shocked.
Really?
Wow.
I've sat with guys that it took them 4.5 hours to record a song.
So
you know what I mean? So it was just so dope. Yeah.
So do you think that stage presence, do you think it's ingrained or do you think it's learned?
I mean, we'll see when I see him performing. You know, my older son too, he hasn't done shows yet, but he's more of a producer side. But I do think it's a bit natural, to be honest, because because I was such a hype performer, but I'm more of a quiet person. Right? And where I drew inspiration from that was I wouldn't say drew inspiration, but something that really hit me as a quote. I saw Chris Rock on the Oprah show years and years ago, maybe early 2000s, and he was mentioning he has like a super social anxiety and like crazy, like some mental health issues. And he said, like, if you see me at the mall, I'm gonna avoid eye contact. Even if you're yelling Chris Rock, I walk away from people.
Yeah.
He said, but the second I step on that stage, I'm Chris effing Rock.
Yeah.
That's how I feel as J-Bru. It's, I've had some people I went to high school with who, and me and my friends, I was really good friends with Terry Dixon and Ivan Skeet and my brother Jeff, actually. We would rap and make music, but we didn't do it seriously. But a lot of people didn't know I did music. They knew me as like the basketball guy. So a couple years later, I'd see some people at a show or where I'm like, whatever. And they'd say, oh, I can't believe like you were such a shy kid.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd be like, yeah, but music was my outlet. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
they see me on stage, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So I do feel like it might be a natural thing with Levon. The more you feel the music, and there's performers that, especially in hip hop, that just stand still and kind of rap. I've never been that guy. I jump around like I'm crazy. But I mean, we'll see if it's natural when he starts doing some shows.
But to jump off of that tip too, it's like I think it's natural because you sometimes in these things that you write or these poetic words, you actually find a power within that. So you're like, those are my words, and I was so convincingly trying to write them that you automatically become that person, and you're like, this is the way I want to express it. This is the way I want to say it. And you become that like superhero character,
Yeah, no, 100%.
Even if it's vulnerable,
Oh yeah. And that's my thing is especially the last, maybe, I think my new record will be my 11th or 12th. And I think my last about 7 or 8 albums, I've really hit some personal, songs, and I'm sort of known for the darker side now. And not that I'm pigeonholed, but I get like an email a week saying like, oh my God, I heard this song, like my mom passed away, I listen to it every day.
If I go too crazy, would you come and save me? I don't know how long I can go, taking it slow.
Look, if I'm being honest, I hate that I'm breathing. My bleeding heart's the reason. See, I can't fight these demons. So sick of fucking dreaming. Every night I'm screaming. And I don't wanna wake my kids, plus my smile's deceiving. I've watched people die, I'd walk 1,000 miles to see them. Or I could just finish the job, I hope they find me sleeping. People like you got kids, I hope you find some meaning. But when you really wanna die, there ain't no cries or pleading. Can make you feel alive. People like to demonize what they never understand. Well, maybe you'll believe my eyes. So much pain in here, believe in hell I made it there. And I ain't never coming back unless I see the Satans there.
If I go too crazy, would you come and save me? I don't know how long I can go, taking it slow. If I go too crazy, would you come and save me?
And that's what keeps me going is that sort of more personal stuff. But I do think an advantage we have in the Maritimes, I say this in a lot of interviews, but I really think it's true. In Canada, we get labeled as copycats for American artists. But here's my theory on this, because everyone says Maritime artists sound different, right? And I really think it's like Toronto is above like New York, say, or Vancouver is above California. That type of thing. The Midwest would be like just below Calgary and the Edmonton artists. And they do sound a lot like those guys. And that's we're not above anybody, so we have nobody to copy. So I feel like the Maritimes has their own style. You'll see more artists that don't sound like anybody else, and I take great pride in that with my own career. So
well, I mean, Nova Scotia has a huge musical legacy too,
definitely.
So many good artists have come out of there. And we were just recently back there, and and a lot of those artists do carry that vibe too, So
oh no,
cool.
100%. And it's not even artists that made it necessarily. I wouldn't even want to do it just for the fact that they're all my friends. But if you ask me my 10 favorite artists of all time from Nova Scotia, probably 7 of those never even like recorded an album before. You know what I mean? Like that's how dope I feel like the artists are here. There's some that might did a couple of shows, but there's so many dope artists that never did albums or
the neighborhood heroes, man.
For every MCJ and Cool G, there's like 10 guys that just rapped at parties.
For sure.
MCJ and Cool G. I remember back in the day, right?
Yeah.
at the Metro Center
Yeah.
during a Windjammers game.
Oh,
I remember that.
yeah.
They performed during halftime in the.
So listen,
They had this
Yeah.
little speaker about this big at the Metro Center.
at the Metro
Wouldn't even
Center,
let them use the system.
yeah, no, they wouldn't. Yeah, yeah. Mike Cowie, man. Remember
Yes.
the jazz
Oh, my
guy up
God,
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good
Oh, my
times,
goodness.
man.
Anyway,
Wow.
side note, man. Side note, like you mentioned the North End.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about for you, the change through the North End would have been gradual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the changes in the North End, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I'm sure you guys are familiar too. I do a lot of work with dads and stuff, and I did some work down in the square area maybe in 2019. So I was down there every day. You know, the community I love the community. It's very similar to what it was when I was there in the 70s and 80s, but you know, with gentrification and things going on, it's really not the same. Like it's, you know, if you've lived there this whole time and you've been there and you're there, you're still talking to the same people. You still get that same vibe. You're seeing family members, stuff like that. But if you've gone away and come back, you know, I'm sure as you guys can attest to, man, you don't even recognize the North End anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
I felt that a bit.
condos and you know, office buildings and stuff like that. So it's sad. It's really sad, to be honest.
Yeah. For us, it was a bit jarring to the system, to be honest, man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think Little Man was gonna perform for us, possibly.
Levon. Hey, buddy. So I just tried to bribe him. He said, "Well, maybe for $100." He's already a businessman.
Hey, man, that's a good.
Right?
That's a good fee.
Yeah,
There
maybe
you go.
for 100.
Yeah.
Okay, come here, buddy. You need this one.
Get I'm Levon the Prince, and I like to play. See me at the playground every day. And when I get home again, because I'm a future king, I'll play to win. Hi, everybody. I'm Levon the Prince. You should hide your daughter. She might want to kiss. Swig so icy, flow colder than my dad, J-Bru. He's an old man. Me, my brother, Tenebros TV. I'm like John Cena. You can't see me. I'm like my sister. Her name is Zara. She's always smiling like there's no tomorrow. And my older brother, he's Devontae. He's in high school, but not in my school. I'm in primary, my way around, but I gotta meet Lily at the playground. I'm Levon the Prince, and I like to play. See me at the playground every day. When I get home, I'll play again. Cause I'm a future king. I play to win. I'm Levon the Prince, and I like to play. See me at the playground every day. And when I get home, I'll play again. Cause I'm a future king. I play to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go,
Yeah. Microphone drop.
Oh, man.
Sheesh.
I'll
Rock
give him that mic. He didn't want to give
Yeah.
the mic up.
He was about to freestyle battle you.
That's the next
awesome,
step. Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
cool, man.
Well, geez, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your Sunday afternoon, man. Anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'll shout out my my new project.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, it's called Love Me Now Before I'm Gone. It's my 11th. I want to say 11, but someone told me it was 12, but I have to research that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my 11th studio album, Love Me Now Before I'm Gone. I'll be out in August on all streaming platforms.
Cool.
And yeah, if anyone wants to check out Levon, he's on every social media platform under Levon the Prince.
Awesome.
And you mentioned he was playing somewhere.
Yeah, he's got a show at Dock Days in Lockport, actually.
All right,
Saturday.
Halifax people, you know the deal.
Right?
Yep.
So listen, Halifax got to pony up because all these so shore people are hitting me up for these shows, but Halifax, I don't know if they want to pay the money, but
Yeah.
listen, new talent costs money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. True.
Industry rule number 4080.
That's right. 80.
Breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, sip of breaking new ground, breaking new ground, breaking new ground, sip of breaking new ground, breaking new ground.
You have been listening to Down Home. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
On a high plateau, from the one down below to the future of the funk, getting lost in the flow. Contact with the spot magex. Now it's time to flex with the force from the soul, reaching all aspects, getting deep, no time to sleep. As you reach your next phase, laying it all on the line. New trail start to blaze. It's a fire inside, a brand new path, breaking down the sum to one. Feeling free, I just laugh with the joy of a beat boy, just kicking it live. A connection so strong.
The songs, Daily Operation, Crazy, courtesy of J-Bru.
Ready to drop a perfect gem, it's time to shine so fine. To see what you find, revolution starts with the evolution of the mind. It's a rhythm of circumference that rotates around to the surface with a purpose. Breaking new ground.
Breaking new ground and flying high. Wanna keep living my life.
The song, Breaking New Ground, from The Breakdown.
Like music.